Ladies and gentlemen, we've come to the very end of our webinar. I just wanted to close it out in a big way with our ambassador. Ambassador Mull Katende is our ambassador to the United States. I just wanted to ask him to actually say a word or two in closing, his own personal remarks, and also give us some hope. I know COVID has devastated a lot of the businesses, and I know he represents government. Many of us have been concerned that hospitals, as you close it out this evening, I just wanted you to, one, thank our partners, our sponsors, pay homage and tribute to Sheila Mugenzi, who happens to have been the investment director at Uganda Investment Authority, who made the BBS Telefinal live broadcast possible, but passed away yesterday. And also to thank our patron, Dr. Maggie Chigozi, who over the years has been very supportive as owner and partner of Pepsi Cola Uganda and former executive director of Uganda Investment Authority. So I just wanted to give the floor to you, sir. Thank you for staying all this long. The floor is yours.
Thank you very much, Mr. Ronnie Mayanja. And I recognize the heavy participation at this Expo. I recognize the presentations that have been made by your patron, Dr. Maggie Kigozi, by our elders and professional people, my colleague, Ambassador Chohanjile, and the other representative of our sister missions, namely Mr. Claude Gedron, who represented the Canadian government, Mr. Adam Michello, who represented the US government from US Embassy in Kampala, and indeed all those actors in business that have made very excellent presentations in banking, in housing, in courage, and all the rest. I've really enjoyed the presentations, and as ambassador, we always feel happy that the message reaches where it should go. But on the outset, allow me, Mr. Ronnie Mayanja, to thank you as the Executive Officer of the Uganda Diaspora Network for inviting me to participate in this Business Expo. Similar thanks also go to members of the board of Uganda Diaspora Network. On behalf of Uganda Embassy, Washington, D.C., and indeed on behalf of the government of the Republic of Uganda, I commend Uganda Diaspora Network for its continued commitment to promote business interactions between Uganda and North America. To all the participants, I send you greetings and wish you fruitful deliberations and interactions. This you have already done. Whereas this annual business forum has previously attracted business operators in a physical setting, the years 2020, 2021 have been unique because of the health and travel restrictions brought about by the coronavirus pandemic. Indeed, this is a period not like any other we have witnessed in the recent past, say in the recent 100 years. During this period, the coronavirus pandemic has severely impacted the health and socioeconomic status of all countries in the world, including Uganda and those in North America. Several aspects of our lives and economic architecture have been adversely impacted and greatly tested. Therefore, as we today convene and complete this Uganda North America Business Expo. We chart a way forward in business between Uganda and North America. We are cognizant of the challenges caused to our economies by COVID-19. Consequently, and the reason our conversation has been enriched by many lessons occasioned by the pandemic. At this juncture, allow me to once again express heartfelt condolences to all those that have lost their dear ones. Our prayers also go to all those that have been affected in one way or the other. At this business expo, however, we have the opportunity to reflect on opportunities for bouncing back in a post-COVID resilience. As the embassy, two of our mandates are to promote economic and commercial diplomacy in the area of accreditation, as well as to work with the Ugandan diaspora to achieve three things. Number one, that we dispense consular services to the Ugandan diaspora so that they conform to immigration laws of the host country. We do this on behalf of the Directorate of Citizenship and Immigration Control. And I'm happy that Mr. Sebujja of the Directorate has highlighted the important elements of interest to the diaspora. Number two, that the Ugandan diaspora enhance their well-being and prosperity and live happily, both individually and collectively in their communities, steering away, of course, from trouble. That is of great interest to us because we don't like to keep going to prisons. Thirdly, that the Ugandan diaspora think big and bigger and participate in the socio-economic development of Uganda. Through forums like this one and our tailor-made programs of the embassy, we, on behalf of Uganda government, are ready to work with the Ugandan diaspora to achieve the said objectives for mutual benefit. That said, there is this assessment that most Ugandan diaspora tend to prefer operating business or other ventures individually rather than collectively. And as such, they tend to operate small businesses and not corporate businesses. This could as well be a mindset phenomenon that needs to be reflected on, along with the necessary trust tools for corporate ventures. Otherwise, on its part, and as attested by UIA and other presenters at this forum, the government of Uganda is ready to put the requisite tools to the disposal of those serious ones in the diaspora, ready to invest in Uganda and or do trade with the USA. For example, manufacturing spaces can be allocated within the 20+ industrial parks around the country. It is also pleasing that various business operators and institutions in finance, logistics, facilitation, and others have made presentations during this business expo. I hope we shall take advantage of those presentations. The US government itself has put in place various tools to encourage American companies to do business with Africa, including Uganda. The representative of the U.S. Embassy in Kampala touched on some of these, and allow me to highlight 5. There is Prosper Africa, with a deal team situated at the U.S. Embassy in Kampala. 2, there is the Build Act 2018, the better utilization of investment leading to development, that is Build. It consolidated the Overseas Private Investment Corporation, OPIC, and other development finance programs into a reformed U.S. International Development Finance Corporation. It amounts to $60 billion, and all American companies can access that facility to do business with Uganda. Number 3, the Millennium Challenge Corporation. This is aimed at fighting poverty and enhancing prosperity. Then 4, Power Africa, specifically for energy development. And lastly, AGOA. This is the Africa Growth and Opportunity Act, under which eligible countries, including Uganda, can benefit from duty-free access of over 6,000 products on the U.S. market. All prospective business operators, including those in the diaspora, can therefore take advantage of these available tools in Uganda and USA to advance themselves and their respective countries. This way, we shall realize more business and economic development for mutual benefit. And here I have a special message to business operators in Uganda. You had the presentation by Canada. There are lots of opportunities that we can take advantage of. You had also the presentation by the representative of the U.S. Embassy. What I can assure you of is that here in North America, in US, in Canada, there is a huge market for tradable goods. The most important thing we need to do is to ensure quality products and services. We must get the standards right, and we must commit to agreed schedules. These requirements may sound simple and not underscored enough, but they are our biggest problem to access the US and other markets. In this respect, it is important that we take advantage of the technical support by USAID for effective participation in AGOA, for example. I listened to Honorable Eli Karhanga, whose presentation was a presentation of hope. And all he said is fully, there are massive investment opportunities going on in Uganda. These are massive. They have not happened before. But it is also true that there is a good story happening in our country. And people should take advantage of what is unfolding in Uganda, despite the COVID-19 pandemic. I want to assure all our Ugandan diaspora here in North America that the the three embassies, we are actually three. The three embassies in North America, the High Commission in Ottawa, the Ugandans in Washington, D.C., and Uganda Permanent Mission in New York. These missions are ready to work with you so that we can build our country. And everybody stay safe. Coronavirus is still there. Let us fight it by conforming to the SOPs that have been advised to us by the medical experts. Once again, thank you so much, Mr. Ronnie, and your organization for organizing this expo. And we would like others to now put on your shoes and come and do business with Uganda. Come and visit Uganda. The executive secretary of tourism board told you that they have even put transport at the airport to take tourists. Please, as you reflect, you could as well go to a serene place like Uganda and feel happy. Thank you so much. God bless everybody.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Mull. It's definitely been a pleasure staying up with you this long. Thank you so much for everything you've had to say. There are certain people with whom we've been working that had left out. Mr. Henry Luyombia, please find it in your heart to forgive us. Thank you for the support, making our messages go out there on all the Canadian forums. We appreciate you. Our chair in Toronto, Mr. Jeff Chizito, thank you for the support. Mr. Justus Mirembe in Vancouver, our co-chair, we recognize you and also appreciate all the goodwill and support. I did have a couple of questions. I would probably say at this juncture, we are now concluding, but I also wanted to make sure that, just give me 1 second. I just wanted to get some of this noise blocked out for me. I just wanted to get some feedback for those who might want to react as we wrap up. I'll start from the bottom of the comments. These were some of the key questions I got. Can the East African passport serve the same purpose as a Ugandan passport for domestic and international travel? That was probably for Mr. Siminyu. If you can comment on that, that would be great. As we wrap up now, by the way, we are doing a Q&A. And then given the emerging variants for the COVID, is basically a negative PCR test presented at the airport sufficient because I think what's happening now, they're pointing to the infections that are coming into the country. I don't know who would be fit to address this. And then I also have what is Uganda's competitive advantage compared to other sub-Saharan countries for attracting FDI, that is foreign direct investment from Britain. Following Brexit, we're better positioned to now trade with Brexit. After Brexit, can we say that Uganda can, given its Commonwealth status, have a better way to trade with the United Kingdom? And then there's another question I got here. Last year, South Sudan required Ugandans to pay for visas to enter their country. Since they are now part of the East African bloc, do we still need visas to enter South Sudan? And then there's another one here also, how has the financial industry and the private sector been engaged to facilitate capital injection in the health sector and in support services to ensure adequate testing and vaccination facilities for all? But probably the question that I liked and also I'll save for last is Uganda is battling COVID-19 pandemic with low testing and vaccination facilities. The cost of medication and treatment is exorbitantly high, and people have lost lives due to the lack of funds for treatment. How is the Ministry of Health regulating the health providers to ensure that they provide the duty of care at affordable prices instead of taking advantage of the situation to make profits and also to put money before care? So if Dr. Chabayinza, if you're still here, I think I see you. It would be very good for you to address some of this. I think we've been reading this across social media platforms. The fact that people are being charged quite exorbitantly. I personally lost a brother-in-law, and he was in hospital for less than 5 weeks, but our bill was 200 million. And believe it or not, we lost the patient. And I think everybody has been affected in one way or the other. So we had to chip in to help our sister meet the hospital bill. I'll leave out the name of that private hospital in Kampala, but it's one of the leading ones, also with the highest number of ICU beds. So if Dr. Chabayinza, you're there, it would be great to comment. If Ambassador, since you still have the floor, you wanted to comment about some things that were related to what I said. I think people have that fatigue, that money was given, that fundraising efforts were made for COVID relief. We've never seen and heard from government officials regarding the accountability of those funds. We have hospitals whereby, you know, people have had to pay for some of these services at very exorbitant prices, and they have lost their loved ones. So I think if those who can, especially internal affairs, we had invited NIR as well. If you guys can comment on those areas, I would appreciate. If Dr. Chabayinza, I still see you here, if you can also go ahead and say something about the Ministry of Health and what you guys are doing to check people who are really abusing the system by overcharging and also holding onto people's bodies to make sure that they first clear the bills to bury their dead. I think that's a little unfortunate for you who took an oath to kind of make sure that life is preferred over anything else. You guys have the floor. Whoever is ready can go. But Dr. Chabayinza would need.
Thank you, Ronnie.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ronnie. This is Daniel Chabayinze. I will comment briefly about hoarding of bodies. Today, the Registrar of Medical Practitioners Council has issued a letter. It's illegal to hold somebody's dead person just because of bills. And also they are being allowed to review what they are charging for, to be openly transparent. Thirdly, the government is trying to quickly make sure their own ICUs can take in as many people as possible, because, you know, hospitals are private ongoing entities. And then we also remember a landmark law which says, and the Attorney General advised, that dead people are not having any, and holding people is not part of the law. So there's questions, but there's also inhumane actions. So our government and the Registrar of Professionals, which is our practicing council, which is Uganda Dental and Medical and Dental Practitioners Council, has also expressed their need. And I think this is going to be curbed going forward. Over to you, Ronnie.
Thank you so much. Ambassador Mull, did you want to comment about anything that you might find based on the questions? Because there were so many of them. We have over 100, but we picked out what we felt was...
Now, only the passports. The passports are called East African passports just because they are harmonized by, among the East African member states. These passports are international. They are not for operation within East Africa. They are international, except they are called East African passports from the sense that all the partner states of East African community are conform to the design and the contents of those passports. Now, the doctor has answered the question about the cost of COVID patients. Yes, the other thing I want to add there is that government is now talking with the private sector, those involved in the medical field, on how some of these costs can be lowered. And indeed, some of them have started being lowered. You know, one of the things about free mechanism is that government is not supposed to interfere a lot in what the private sector does. But there is some gentleman's understanding to talk, and this talking is yielding results. Now, the other question about South Sudan, yes, South Sudan is a member of the East African community, and the visa regime so far is not harmonized. I think one of the things for the East African countries is to harmonize those visa regimes. I know for South Sudan and Burundi, they are not yet on board, but this is something being worked on. The other issue related to COVID funds, you talked of, yes, there was answer to government appeal for the private sector to contribute materials and funds toward the fight of the pandemic. Yes, I think there was some misunderstanding, and this misunderstanding has been clarified with the Auditor General. All the money that was received was sent to the consolidated fund, and it became subject to the normal regulations relating to use of government funds. But on corruption generally, government has undertaken to fight that vice wherever it is. And I want to assure all Ugandans that they will see another Uganda very soon in terms of corruption. Now, the competitiveness of Uganda, yes, we do have a lot of attributes that that distinguish us from other competitors. If you have been in our region, you find that our trade regime is one of the most liberal. Our financial regime is one of the most liberal. If you are an investor, you go to Uganda, you invest your money, the following week you want to take it back, you just take it back. It's your money. So those ones make us different. But they are also, there is the conducive atmosphere on how people do business. Any challenges that have been there, government has resolved to deal with them decisively. You had Honorable Karuhanga telling you that whereas some other countries are closing oil fields, in Uganda we are getting investors to open the oil fields. So there is something very attractive bringing people to Uganda. And I think those are the issues I recorded.
Thank you so much, Ambassador Mull. And once again, thank you for having made the time.